Hello everyone, this is Ominous Illustrations and today I'm going to review Death Dealer by Verotik Comics, which is owned by Glenn Danzig. And this is a comic book based on the artist Frank Frazetta, based on a series of his most famous paintings, I would say. Beautiful work. Now let's look at what it looks like on the inside. So yeah, this is pretty cool. So this is who the artist is, Simon Bisley, and the colors are by Mark Pasella. Let's take a look. Immediately we're drawn into a battle where the protagonist just defeats a massive amount of enemies. A chorus of ungodly howls fills the valley. Scores of bodies rend and grapple each other, lifeless and bloody. Screams of pain and death pierce every eardrum. Scarred and battered, one reveled in the carnage. Yeah, this is badass. I really like the way Simon Bisley draws masculine characters. The anatomy is great. Perspective, everything. I like the colors too so far. This is cool. I love the blast spreader right there. It's awesome. The red colors. That's a cool helmet. I know Simon Bisley, I think he likes to draw helmets and armor and stuff like that, because he's big into drawing warriors. This is cool. Love all the action scenes. He just grabs that guy and then strikes him with his axe. More fighting. And then eventually the protagonist gets on his horse. Oh no, actually this horse came out of nowhere. He looked up out of nowhere. There he stood, face to face with this massive black apparition from hell. So the horse is referred to as an apparition from hell. And I think he needs to take some kind of break from fighting or something. It's a main dance with like fire, and its eyes glowed then. It thundered away at a furious pace, snorting like a devil as he ran from it. Or I guess he's chasing the horse. The horse is trying to lure him somewhere. And eventually does, and this place is called the Keep. He stood frozen for a second in a garden of death, so huge it dwarfed all else. And this place, this keep, is surrounded by a bunch of skeletons, skulls and sticks. It's a very grim area, a grim place to be. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to be there. But he needs to go there for some reason, or he's lured there for some reason. Maybe he's chosen for something. He made his way up the row of skeletons. Silently, he crept down the corridor. And I like the colors here. It's nice. I love when purple is used for shadows or dark areas. Further into darkness he descended, and we see the Death Dealer helm right here. He's also being watched by lions or pumas. Boom. That's a nice shot. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can. This is a double spread page. So the helmet is just sitting there, and we see the axe. We see, I guess, the parts of the armor. All the skulls surrounded. There's some kind of lion creature there. Then the protagonist, I think he wants to reach for the helmet. He whirled momentarily, blinded by a shaft of light that cut open the darkness. There, ominously staring down on him. Alright, let's take a look and see what happens next. It was a helmet. That's a very cool drawing of a helmet. I love the shadow around the eyes. It's very cool. Yes, how it glowed. He touched it, making sure it was real. Feeling its texture, he stopped. Has something moved? And then there's a lion, or I think it's a female lion, I don't know. It looks like there's something liquid that's reaching towards his face, but coming from the helmet. And then the lion growls at him. The saber-tooth sprang. Okay, so it's a saber-tooth. The saber-tooth sprang. The whole room whirled to life. The claws of the beast digging into his flesh. Its fangs inching closer. Still, the helmet glared. So the saber-tooth just attacks him, most likely to test him out or to distract him from what's going on. There seems to be this, like, I don't know, this gooey black substance, kind of like venom, but it's reaching out towards him in the form of tentacles. Okay, so I like this entire page here. Just fighting the saber-tooth. And then he grabs his axe, chopping basically striking the saber-tooth, like between his jaws. They're cutting the top of his head off. But still, the helmet reaches out to him. It seems to be alive. It takes hold of him. Now the once neutral helmet made its move. Its oozing tendrils snaring the unsuspecting warrior. And so the helmet pulls him closer. He struggles to free himself, but eventually the gooey tentacles reach for the inside of his head, and it pops out his eyes. That's brutal. Closer to the helmet, and I guess this is the origin of the Death Dealer. It hugged itself tightly over his head, and then eventually he turns pale, and you can see how the goo moves through his veins. The struggle was over. Now officially he is the Death Dealer. Instantaneously, his brain exploded, knees buckling. He and the helmet were one. Cool. It's a very brutal origin of the Death Dealer. I'm wondering, are there any comics you are familiar with that have brutal origin stories? Let me know in the comments section. In a flash, it was another time. He was seeing through the eyes of the helmet. Bodies lay at his feet, some screaming, others lifeless, hacked beyond recognition. So I guess there's more warriors pursuing him, and he just beats them up with his axe. This is a beautiful shot. I love this. I bet Simon Bisley had a lot of fun drawing this. He was on a great battlefield, axe swinging. Heads flew and mist and fresh crimson filled the air. So lots of blast batter everywhere. People losing their limbs, their heads. Wow. A whole bunch of arrows. Well, all these arrows can't stop him. He just keeps going. He just keeps fighting. He's completely relentless. Alright, look at this. This is so cool. Wow, right to the stomach. That's gonna give him a really bad stomach ache. Yeah, so he's possessed by the helmet. He just defeats all these enemies through the power of the helmet. I wonder what the story is behind the helmet. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think it's possessed by some kind of demon or ancient god. Maybe a demon is trapped within the helmet. Look at that, he just chops this guy. Holy shit. That's horrifying. Imagine facing this guy face to face, like in real life. That'd be scary. Now I guess they overwhelmed him. What do you know? He's hanging upside down. And he's like, I shall not die. And then someone commands to execute him. Do it. And as the executioner is about to swing his axe, he's held by the Death Dealer's, I guess, his hand. He eventually frees himself. And then he breaks his neck. Crack. And he frees himself fully. But he seems to be bleeding. But his blood is like green. So I guess he's not human anymore. He's just pale. Has green blood. That is an amazing drawing. I really like that head right there. It was over. He was back in the tomb. He put his hand to his neck. It still ached. This was no dream. The helmet had shown him its past, its betrayal. And now through him, handpicked by the helmet, it would be avenged. He screamed in his head, vengeance. Vengeance. That's awesome. All right. I really like all these ruins here. Crash. Some kind of earthquake, I suppose. Just then the ground jolted, the tomb, the keep, everything was rapidly crumbling around him. He lurched back, and now he too was tumbling, falling down, crush. Well, there was some kind of earthquake here, and then they came. Who's they? Well, all these weird, strange women, like this hybrid-looking females. And yeah, they look like they're wild. Clearly they're animalistic. But they wield daggers and they hiss at him like a cat. They ran and he was after them. Follow us. Hiss. So all these strange women want him to follow them. Now let's see where this is all leading to. Oh, what's this? Are these the same type of creatures? They look a little different. The helmet was vibrating softly. It was a trap. Demons. They were all over him, snapping, ripping at him, tumbling at his feet. Now the killing was no memory. Yeah, this is cool. He's fighting warriors, he's fighting creatures. Awesome. Anyway, he fights through them. Fighting. These pages are amazing. Wow. I want to be able to draw like this. Very cool. And eventually he's done, and that's the cool pinup. Very Frank Frazetta looking. That's a very Frank Frazetta looking pinup. Excuse me. And all was still, as there he stood among a heap of dead and gurgling demons, who should have known better than the cat woman. They were back, taunting again. What did they want? What was their part in this unfolding madness? Looking up, he saw it. A throne. They had led him to his throne. Okay, so they are all on his side. I think they were testing him first, and then they lured him towards these like demons, these male demons, to see if he's worthy enough to sit on the throne and to lead them and rule over them. I love this page, like the red and the green, very cool. The way they are drawn here, like the shadowy faces. Yeah, this is some feline looking woman. When you look at like Marvel comics or DC comics, every heroic character has people around them that are his allies. I guess this is the Death Dealer's version of that. But it seems like they have a love and hate relationship. Look at that. They're always violent towards him, I suppose, but they still accept him. That's such a cool page. Such a cool drawing. The throne, the head there. Then the helmet shifted his gaze, and there it was. There's the horse. The horse! This supernatural creature had led him to the keep, to his new destiny, as if it knew all along, waiting patiently for him to emerge. It was the Death Dealer's horse, and it waited for his return. Very cool. So this horse is his friend, I suppose. I like the helmet with the bird. Very nice. Great. Now we are together again. Let this new day make men and kings fear. Blood will cover this land, a rain so red. Let the vengeance begin. He's staring towards the sunset. Beautiful image. I like the fog here. Very nice. Beautiful artwork, beautiful drawings. Nice colors. I think this is this is from Frank Frazetta's illustration, or his book on illustrations. I bet this is so rare right now. This was from 1994. I'm sure it's rare. I have a Frank Frazetta art book. One day I will cover it on this channel. Let's see what Frank Frazetta says here. The first Death Dealer printing reaches into the depths of your soul. It is a powerful image of death in a more primeval setting. People from all walks of life, clergymen, the military, even guys on death row, were moved by this character. That's very interesting. Let's see what Glenn Danzig says. Prints of Frank Frazetta's work have hung on my walls most of my life. I have spent hours studying his paintings, trying to figure out how he does it. Is he possessed? Truth is, Frank is a natural and original. To work with someone like this, to me, is so many things: an honor, privilege, labor of love. It's not hard to be in awe of true talent. It rears its head so rarely. I hope you enjoy our collaboration. Now let's tally up the body count. Yeah, that was a huge body count. And here's Simon Bisley. My first opportunity to see Frank Frazetta's work came when my father brought me into a bookshop. That's a cool thing that a father could do for his son. Hey, let's go to a bookshop. I saw a paperback book with one of his Conan the Barbarian paintings on the cover. I was totally stunned by the image. And from then on, I collected every copy of Frank's work I could find. Now, years later, I have the privilege of drawing Frank Frazetta's character. Death Dealer for Verotik. For me, this is a dream come true and a great opportunity to kick some ass. So he was influenced by Frank Frazetta when he was young, and then he eventually started working for Glenn Danzig and did a Frank Frazetta comic. Very cool. That's truly a dream come true. These are some paintings by Frank Frazetta, like posters, which I bet they're out of print. Oh no, they're prints, but they're out of print. But if you want one, you can always send a check or a money order to Frank Frazetta, P.O. Box 919. I always love this one right here. The Countess, Cat Girl. Yeah, there's Death Dealer. Alright, that's it. That's a nice drawing. I like that. That was Death Dealer #1 by Verotik Comics. And I will do the second book, the third book, and the fourth book as well. That's coming as well. Take care, everyone. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Bye.